Senator Bryan, would you mind introducing it?
Mr. President, I would say to members of the committee, the bad news is I'm sitting up here at the front. The good news is if you'll pass the bill, I promise I'll leave. This is modeled after a bill in Arkansas. It deals with a narrow group of people. In the past, Medicaid has looked at it and said, among other things, they felt it would only apply to a few people. It establishes an independence account, and it provides that money you get can be paid into this account to use basically for things which aren't covered by Medicaid without your losing Medicaid eligibility. One of the problems is you can very quickly lose eligibility by just getting a few dollars, and there are those who receive relatively small amounts from employment here, yonder, or there for brief periods of time, and it's modeled after an Arkansas bill. That's what the bill does.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the committee members?
Motion.
Seeing none, entertain a motion.
Motion is title sufficient, do pass.
Motion of title sufficient, do pass. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That bill will be reported out. Thank you, Senator. Next, we're going to have Senate Bill 2898, non-emergency transport program. Senator Younger, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a bill that Peer wanted us to get passed so we could reevaluate the transportation, non-emergency transportations every 2 years. And it amends the subsection 36 of Mississippi Code, section 4113-117 in regarding to it. And it just allows them to reevaluate it every 2 years. No questions.
You've heard the bill, explanation of the bill. Are there any questions?
Motion, title sufficient, do pass.
Motion of title sufficient, do pass from Senator Boyd. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That bill will be reported. Next, we've got Senate Bill 2396. This deals with the ABLE account. Some of you may recall, I think it was back in 2019, we passed the ABLE account, which it stands for Achieve a Better Life Experience. And basically what it is, it's a tax-free savings account designed for individuals with disabilities. Basically, anybody can contribute to it. You can only contribute up to $19,000 as a gift. There are some restrictions. Anyway, what this particular bill does is actually, let me go back. When people have these accounts, when they die, Medicaid can come back and claw back any of the funds that were spent, that Medicaid spent on taking care of the person. And basically what this bill does is it prohibits that. There's 22 other states that have this act in place. And in our particular case, Medicaid has never gone back to recoup the money. We're just going to put it in statute. That's explanation of the bill. I'll yield for questions.
Motion, title sufficient, do pass.
Title sufficient, do pass is the motion by Senator Boyd. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Bill will report it out. Thank you. Next, we have the our infamous Med Tech bill, Senate Bill 2867. The vast majority of these changes that are in this bill are either at the request of Medicaid or CMS. You may recall last year we passed basically the same bill and unfortunately died over in the House. So we're revisiting this. So of key substance, there's language deleted, and again, a lot of this stuff comes from CMS and Medicaid. But some of the things that we're adding or requesting Medicaid to add, or Medicaid has requested to add new language allowing for value-based payment model. We're adding that pediatricians can get up to 100% reimbursement from Medicare. They're currently at 80%. We're saying that managed care and Medicaid cannot use step therapy in treating postpartum depression. Recommending that eyeglasses can be renewed every 2 years versus every 5 years. Allowing ambulatory surgery centers to be reimbursed up to 100% of the Medicare ambulatory surgery rate. We allow Medicaid to pay for various sleep apnea products. We allow Medicaid to implement reimbursement models for autism spectrum disorder, sports participation physicals, GLP-1 medications, and coverage for postpartum depression. We establish, in conjunction, Medicaid and Department of Health, and establishing a perinatal risk management service. We create a definition for adult daycare facility and define the scope of their services. We set out those regulations for those adult daycare facilities beginning July 26. We prohibit Medicaid for reimbursing any transgender transition procedures. And we deleted the language that restricted presumptive eligibility. And we also removed the restriction on psychiatric beds for a psychiatric facility in DeSoto County. That's an explanation of the changes. Now yield for any questions. Senator Blunt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think I heard you say it, but I just want to clarify, does this include the language that fixes the problems with presumptive eligibility in pregnant women?
Yes, sir, it does.
Okay, we just, I know they're very standalone bills on that, but that's in this tech bill.
Yes, sir.
Or, I know you put in a lot of work last year dealing with Medicaid eligibility. Does this tech bill, as it stands right now, make any changes to eligibility?
It does not.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes, Senator McMahon.
Chairman Blackwell, do we have a fiscal note by how much we're increasing the Medicaid budget?
We do not.
When are we going to have that?
Probably before the floor discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. And I think I'm going to recognize Senator Boyd for an amendment.
Mr. Chairman, if we could add to, make an amendment, I would propose an amendment that adds any non-statin medication that has unique indication to reduce the risk of major cardiovascular event in primary prevention and secondary prevention patients.
You've heard the motion. Are there any questions on the motion? All right.
I'll repeat this, what this amendment would do, we would add to the tech bill any non-statin medications that has a unique indication to reduce the risk of major cardiovascular event in primary prevention and secondary prevention patients. This is something that we had intended to go in the tech bill and we left it out. So this is making that amendment to add that back in.
Again, you heard the motion. Are there any questions? All in favor of the motion? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion will be adopted and we're back on the bill. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion title sufficient do pass.
Title sufficient do pass from Senator Boyd. All in favor? Committee sub.
Sub.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That bill will be reported. And are we still waiting? We have it? All right. The last bill we're going to take up is Senate Bill 2874. And, give everybody a moment to get it. I'll recognize Senator Boyd to present the bill.
This goes along with our tech bill. One of the things that we did this summer in the Women, Children's and Families hearing is we really looked at some things that we looked at in our first time that we did that 2 years ago, and then we took a look this year. And one of the things that we saw a lot of our insurance companies doing a really good job with, others need a little prodding, is to make sure that they are providing compensation for screenings to make sure that we don't have any postpartum situations. Most of y'all know that postpartum depression, it is severe and long-lasting form of depression. It's very different than the baby blues. It's caused from hormonal changes, emotional factors. Oftentimes they have a history of depression of some way or another. And there's a number of symptoms that goes along with this. Mississippi State University just commissioned a study that I have a copy for here if anybody wants, really talking about the economic impact of postpartum depression in Mississippi. And so we want to make sure, we want to join our neighboring states of Arkansas and Louisiana who have legislation that we have mandated the coverage of those screenings for mothers with that. So that's what this bill does. It also makes sure that Medicaid is paying for this. This is also consistent. A lot of people don't know Medicaid has completely done a revamping, is that what you would call it, and have really tightened up a lot of the procedures that they are really requiring from their MCOs in regards to maternal health care. And they've done a great job with that. This is very consistent with what they're requiring in that. The other thing that is included in this piece of legislation that Senator Blackwell and I did a combination of bills just to make it simpler is we are also, as he mentioned earlier, is in the tech bill, and this goes along with it, is we are also not requiring step therapy when mothers are having postpartum depression. It is something, there's actually a new advocacy group in the state of Mississippi that is really advocating for that. But when you have a mother that has maternal depression, it can severely impact that mother and that child. And so step therapy, where they require you to take one drug, if that doesn't work, it's a huge time frame for people to do. And so this would allow doctors and healthcare providers to really make sure that they don't have to abide by that step therapy, because it can cause some really dangerous delays and is not advised by most national medical groups when it comes to maternal health care. And that's a unique situation with that. Again, some of our neighboring states have already looked at this, and so we are heading in that same trend and are kind of one of the things we looked at. So that's an explanation of the legislation. Any questions? Oh, I'd be glad to.
Any questions of Senator Boyd? And
Motion.
there's a motion. Go ahead.
Motion title sufficient, due pass committee sub.
You've heard the motion for Senator Boyd. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? That bill will be reported and rise and report.